Hi everyone, my name is Shayne Jabaut, and this is class DES4 and the month of April. And I'm going to be showing you my Lights Out project. So the very first place I started with here was my game AI and data setup. I have all my modifiable variables, my testable values. My values are available from the inspector, as you can see here. And all my values are available to external components, at least the ones that need to be. So you can see here that my game controller is currently accessing all my light cubes on my game board here. Um, I have a set of lights that are on at level start, which I'll show you right now. These 5 lights come on at the start of the very first level. Every time I move, it'll track my turns. So it does this. And then every time I switch one light, it'll obviously switch the adjacent ones per the designs of the game. For asset creation, I wanted to create the game board, this area here, and then I created the light prefab first. I created this one first, actually, and then I tested this until I had this one light perfected. I wanted it to be able to highlight when moused over, to change when clicked, to turn on and off, things of that nature. And then once I had that one light prefab working, I assembled the entire board with all the light prefabs and gave them each unique names. And then I tested the interactions between those lights to make sure everything was functional. From there, with my user actions, I wanted you to be able to click on lights. I wanted it to track the number of turns that you've used every time you click a light. Um, Everything is stored under the correct scripts. I wanted it to highlight the lights on mouse over so that you could see which light you were going to be clicking on, and it just had more visual representation that you're currently going to activate this light. So for the rules, obviously the player has to interact with each light to turn them on and off. The goal is to have all the lights off at the end of the game. You can only interact with one light at a time, which is pretty obvious. I mean, you can't really click more than one at once anyways. Toggling the lights toggles the adjacent lights around it, as you've seen. The winning condition is that the game is won when all lights are off, which, as you can see, if we continue until we win the game, the game is won when all lights on the board are turned off. Again, with the winning conditions, all lights are off, the win screen will display, and then once you reach this point, the game can be reset so you can play again. And as you can see, I press the R key and the game reset. And then we can play through this again, but obviously the pattern is still the same, right? Because it's the one level resetting right now. And I know there was the option that we could make a level that obviously every time it starts it's going to have different lights on, but I wanted to do it this way where it's a specific light every time because for my portfolio I actually plan to polish this game some more. I actually like whatever I've gotten so far with it and think that if I polished it up it'd be a pretty good portfolio piece. So when I'm ready to polish this, I'm going to add an undo function which will essentially undo the last move. So if you clicked on this light, hitting the undo button will basically re-click it again, but it'll subtract a turn instead of adding a turn, and that'll only work for the very last turn that you committed. And then I want to add a reset level function, which will reset the entire level you're on in case you get stuck or you decide, oh, I could have done that better and I want to get a better score. I'm going to add a reset game so that the entire game can be reset back to level 1. I'm going to implement a score system. I haven't quite decided how I want to do this part yet, but I'm going to either have players start with a higher score value and then reduce the score as they use turns, or I'm gonna set a specific number of moves to solve each puzzle, and if you solve them before you run out of moves, you'll gain points that way. If you solve them after you've run out of moves, I'll either cause the game to end at 0 moves left, cause the level to end at 0 moves left, or allow you to just continue until you solve it, but you gain 0 points. So I'm not sure about that one because I think games should have a way to lose, which isn't really implemented yet. And then from there, I want to add more levels. So I'll show you a little bit of my current script that I worked on for the levels is actually currently inside my game controller. And down here at the bottom, all I did was I set up a case statement that checked for what level we're on, and then when each level gets added, it would obviously change the case. This game controller would stay an active element across each level so that it doesn't get deleted upon the start of the next level, and each case statement would be for each level, so it'd be pretty quick to implement that part. And that's pretty much my project that I have for now. Thanks for watching. Again, my name is Shayne Jabaut, and have a great week.